Is your career path being determined by a line of code that doesn't even know your name? Over the last 72 hours, the American tech sector has been gripped by what is now being called the Nexus Algorithm Scandal, and the noise is deafening. Headlines are screaming, tech giants are playing God, the end of fair hiring, and systemic bias in Silicon Valley. We have seen this movie before, haven't we? Remember the hiring algorithm leaks of 2022 or the social media feedback loop scandals? Every time, the media creates a monster, builds a circus around it, and then moves on to the next tragedy. But underneath the sensationalism, underneath the cable news shouting matches and the viral tweets, there is a reality that is far more boring and far more dangerous. Welcome to BlazeOrbitX, where we refuse to just read the headlines. We are looking at the code behind the curtain. What is really happening at Nexus Corp? Is this intentional bias? Or is this the inevitable result of a move fast and break things culture that has finally broken the wrong thing? Let's break it down. It started, as these things usually do, with a leak. An internal document from Nexus Corp, a giant in recruitment automation, allegedly revealed that their AI-driven screening tool was systematically downranking resumes from specific zip codes and educational backgrounds. The media narrative was instant: corporate segregation. Social media influencers jumped on the bandwagon, calling it the new redlining. The narrative was perfectly packaged for outrage. You have a giant, faceless corporation, you have an invincible algorithm, and you have victims who never even knew they were rejected. It is the perfect recipe for a viral video. But here is where the media failed you. As soon as the news broke, the cable news cycle went into overdrive. They brought on pundits who had never seen a line of Python code in their lives, debating whether AI is racist. They turned a technical failure into a culture war. And why? Because outrage drives ad revenue. They do not want you to understand the nuance of bias in training data. They want you to be angry at a specific logo. At BlazeOrbitX, we prefer facts over fury. Let's step away from the shouting matches and look at the actual architecture. Is the AI racist, or is it a mirror? When you feed an AI historical hiring data, it does not learn fairness, it learns patterns. If a company has historically hired from specific colleges or regions, the AI will naturally prioritize those. It is not malice, it is statistics. And that is the inconvenient truth that the media is not telling you. The real scandal at Nexus Corp is not that they built an AI that discriminates. The real scandal is that they deployed it without an audit trail. In the US, we have the Civil Rights Act, we have equal opportunity laws. But we have almost zero regulation on algorithmic accountability. Think about that. You can sue a hiring manager for bias, but how do you sue a black box? How do you subpoena an algorithm? This is not about the corporate theatrics we see on the news. It is about corporate negligence. It is about tech companies treating the American workforce like a data set to be optimized, not like human beings. Now, let's talk about the key player here. The whistleblower. In every scandal, there is a hero and a villain. The media loves the lone whistleblower versus the evil empire trope. But when we at BlazeOrbitX dug into the court filings, the story gets murkier. The primary complaint is not just about the algorithm. It is about an internal HR dispute that turned into a legal war. We have records showing that the engineering team flagged these biases months ago. They warned management. And what did management do? They issued a memo on inclusive AI, a classic PR deflection. This is the corporate apology machine in action. Issue a statement, promise an internal investigation, hire an outside law firm to look independent, and wait for the news cycle to shift to the next shiny object. Why is the media obsessed with this case while ignoring others? Look at the gig economy scandals in Chicago or the predatory pricing lawsuits in Texas. Those are devastating thousands of lives, yet they barely get a whisper on primetime news. Why? Because the Nexus algorithm is sexy. It involves AI, it involves Silicon Valley, it involves the fear that robots are replacing us. It is the perfect fear-mongering fuel. We need to stop falling for the selective outrage trap. If we are serious about workforce protection, we need to demand transparency in all algorithms, not just the ones that make for good headlines. When the media focuses on one villain, they are actually protecting the status quo. Because if you think the problem is just Nexus Corp, you are wrong. The problem is the industry. So what is the solution? We do not need more Twitter threads calling for boycotts. We need legislative action. We need an Algorithmic Accountability Act that requires every company using AI for hiring to undergo independent third-party bias audits. Not internal audits, but public, transparent ones. We need to treat data bias with the same severity as environmental pollution. If a factory spills toxic waste into a river, we hold them accountable. If a tech company spills toxic bias into the job market, why are they getting a pass? This is a serious issue. Our future economy depends on it. We are entering an era where AI will define who gets a loan, who gets a job, and who gets into college. If we do not fix the foundation now, we are just building a digital caste system. Look, the media will keep giving you the noise. They will keep focusing on the drama, the scandals, and the villains. But here, on BlazeOrbitX, we are going to keep focusing on the systems. Don't let the outrage distract you from the change we actually need. Stop asking who is the bad guy and start asking what is the broken system. Because as long as you are focused on the drama, the corporations are winning. They love it when you scream at your screens. It means you are not paying attention to the policy. The next time you see a tech scandal headline, pause. Ask yourself, who benefits from me being angry? What are they not telling me? Stay informed, stay critical, and do not get played. This is BlazeOrbitX, signing off. Catch you in the next one.